It's a new session just starting in Albany. Hi there, it's Meet the Leaders time, and I'm David Smith. Glad to have you with us and sharing some of the information from some of those who are integrally involved in what's going to be happening over the next 8 months or thereabouts here in Albany that'll affect you very, very directly, like Senator David Carlucci, who's with us. He represents the 38th District, Rockland and Westchester, as you probably well know. It's great to see you, Senator. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Nice to be starting off a new session. It's
Yes.
very exciting, isn't
It's
it?
really exciting. I mean, now we have a Democratic majority, 39
A
members.
clear
yes.
Democratic
So
majority.
I think there's a lot of priorities that have really been built up over the years that we're going to be able to pass. There's new energy. There's 17 new members in the Senate, which is a really remarkable change. So I've been named the chairman of the Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities Committee, something that I'm extremely passionate
That is
about.
a huge endeavor.
Yes, and I was with our leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, yesterday. We were at a service provider in my district that provides services to people living with mental illness and also with developmental disabilities. And there's so much that we can do to help improve the quality of life of our most vulnerable populations. And I think this year, we're going to be able to set in place some policies that can serve as a model for the rest of the nation to follow.
Well, that truly is exciting. One of the major difficulties is, of course, getting adequate people and people who can afford to work in
That's
facilities like that.
You're
And
absolutely
it's
right.
tough to do.
That's exactly it. That's one of the biggest challenges, is that we have to make sure that we're paying our direct service providers, the direct caregivers, an adequate wage, a living wage. And we have a campaign that's a coalition of providers and advocates. We call it Be Fair to Direct Care. And the idea is that we have a living wage. So you can work in a group home, you can work servicing, doing a very challenging job, helping people live a quality life. At the same time, raise your own family and have a career. That's what we need. We have to make sure that the people that are doing this, they do it because they've got a passion. We've got to make sure that we reward that with an adequate salary and really a career path, that they can do this for 20, 30 years. And if they do that, that experience and that quality of care will have amazing results from that.
There has been so much focus over the last several years on mental health. Focus, a lot of lip service.
Right.
And we need some action
That's
service here.
It boils my blood, because you're exactly right. I see it on the media. It'll be a buzzword. Oh, we need mental health.
Exactly.
Mental health.
Exactly.
Well, let's
That's
do
the
it.
problem.
So let's do it. And there's things we can do. There's concrete legislative changes we can make. For example, one of the problems we have now is parity, is that we still, in this day and age, in 2019, we still have a stigma associated with mental illness. It's not visible. So it's not like a scar or a wound that you can visibly see. And that's why we have to make sure that people are getting that access to care. And that's a real challenge, particularly for private insurance. Many times in my office, I'll get complaints where people are just denied access to care for some sort of mental disorder, where we know there's treatment available, we know there's services available, but they're not able to get that right care. Another problem is that we're so quick to prescribe a pill, to prescribe some sort of pharmaceutical product, whereas therapy and other types of services could work just as well, if
Hopefully
not
to
better.
remedy
Right.
the problem, not just mask it.
Exactly. We're treating the symptoms and not really the problem, and that's a whole thing that we have to do in this nation. The pharmaceutical industry has a tight hold on our consumers. We're one of the few countries in the world that allows for direct-to-market advertising of pharmaceutical products, and particularly when we talk about mental issues and prescribing for products like depression, to be marketing direct-to-consumer, I've got a real problem with. I shouldn't go to my doctor and say, "Hey, doctor, I saw this pill on TV. Do you think it'll work for me?"
Prescribing for yourself.
What is that about? We have to get down to common sense, and a lot of these problems, yes, that's a macro. We're not going to be able to tackle that problem directly in New York State, but we can start to put in policies, in fact, and start to model that throughout the country. And I think that's a real problem. We have to take hold of what is going on and how are we treating people in our society.
There's also the factor of the families involved. Many folks with mental disabilities are in standard homes being taken care of by their family. which is an incredibly strenuous endeavor.
Right.
On the whole.
That's it. And parents and families are scared to death. What's going to happen when they're not able to take care of their loved one anymore? And that's something where, as we see baby boomers aging tremendously, the demographics are showing, that's going to be a major concern, that we have to make sure that people have appropriate housing, that they have the appropriate supports. And right now, we really have to step up our game if we're going to improve the quality of care, and we're going to make sure that we have a floor that no one can go through. And right now, I think the system in the United States, we don't have a strong enough floor. We have to build that foundation, and it starts right here in New York, and I think we're going to lead the way with this legislative session.
Well, would that be an inspiration not only to New Yorkers, but as you suggest, to the rest of the country?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see. I see, hey, we're the Empire State for a reason. We've got to lead by example. And we hear about the gridlock in Washington. I mean, the government is shut down as we speak, and yet in New York, we've got to move forward. So we're going to pick up where Congress left off, and we're going to make sure we're answering the call for people in our community. You
are fired up and ready for action. It sounds like it's going to be a very interesting time for you and for everybody who you're touching with this.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great year.
Well, and thank you very much for stopping by in advance.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. Senator David Carlucci, it's going to be an interesting year for him and for everybody he touches in this field. We've got more coming up for you on Meet the Leaders, unquestionably. I'm David Smith.